one all the way from their mansion in Paco, Manila.
Oh.
Yes, so anyway, we'll start first with the history of Manila. Don't you know that Manila started inside the walled city? Because when you step outside the wall, it's no longer part of Manila. Yes, that is already the province of Tondo. Yes, and in early days, most of our places were being governed by Muslim. Why? Because there is a theory that before we have a connecting bridge also from Manila to Brunei. Yes, and even going to Taiwan. Now, what is really the proof that we really have this kind of bridge? Okay, number one, because of the propagation of Islam, and secondly, our archaeologists. So they found some fossils of elephants. Elephants are also elephant, but they have presence of hair because they live on cold places. Now, not only elephants, but also tortoise, the giant one, and even the rhinoceros, which is not common in the Philippines. So by means of this bridge, they were able to reach the country. But unfortunately, they cannot cope up because of the weather that we have. So that's why they died. So their fossils were actually discovered in places in Kiangan. And take note, Kiangan, that area used to be submerged underwater. Why? Because when the ice probably from the north melted, what happened? Those land bridges were destroyed. And all these animals were trapped. Okay, well anyway, let's concentrate more about Manila. Don't you know that Manila derived from two Tagalog words? Tagalog or Filipino is our language here in the Philippines. And just want to give you a little insight, the main reason why the country is called Philippines, because it was dedicated to King Philip II of Spain. And that's why the country is called Philippines and the inhabitants are called Filipinos. Well, anyway, let's go to Manila. Well, anyway, Manila was discovered during the pre-colonial time. Now, before, this walled city was made of mud and also bamboos. Yes, because during that time, this is the kingdom under the jurisdiction of Raja Sulaiman. Raja Sulaiman and Lakandula both came from the lineage of the Sultanate of Brunei. So that's why most part of the Philippines were actually under the jurisdiction of the Muslim. Okay, but then the time came, Spain sent some conquistador. Well, of course, first it was a Portuguese named Fernando de Magallanes, otherwise known as Ferdinand Magellan. But unfortunately, when he received in Cebu, and what happened, there is a resistance because they really wanted to befriend with some of our natives, hopefully in Mactan Island. But because of the resistance, he was defeated. Okay, but then time came, of course, King of Spain sent another conquistador by the name Ruy Lopez de Villalobos. And he's the one who gave Philippines as a gift to King Philip. That's why it is called Philippines. Now, going back to Manila. So what happened before when the Spaniards settled first in Panay Island? So what they call this, Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, who happened to be the master of the camp. So he actually asked his assistant named Marshal Martin de Goiti in 1570 to survey the entire Luzon. Now, while he's passing by along the bank of Pasig River, he got astonished. Why? Because of the beautiful kingdom of Raja Sulaiman. Well, at first attempt, there's also a resistance because of the language barrier. And right after it, he went back again to Legazpi and informed about the settlement here. And then what happened? Legazpi came over on June 24 of 1571 and he was able to receive the city and outcast our local Muslim leaders. So what happened? Of course, what he did was like this. Now, before this area were actually what? We have here Manila Bay, presence of salty water, and we have Pasig River where you can see presence of fresh water. So when these two body of waters meet along the way, we call this the brackish water. So what happened? During ebbing tide, the water level goes down and a piece of land came out, and this is where started Manila. Why Manila? Because of a flood called Nilan. That's why they call us My Nilan. Well, actually, there's a funny story about this. Why? While those Spanish people are passing by along the bank of Pasig River, they saw local people. And they even asked them, saying, "Como se llama usted esta lugar?" Meaning, what is the name of the place? Now, the local people thought they're asking and pinpointing, what flood is that? So, referring to this kind of mangrove tree. And the local people said, nilad yan, nilad yan. So from then on, the place became Maynilad and eventually became Manila. Now, nilad is actually what? Before, according to them, it has a scientific name of Ixora manila. Yes, but then time came, it is not really an Ixora manila because it's a kind of mangrove. And we have more than 50 species of this. Yes, but this one is the only one that actually grows in Manila, only endemic in Manila, with the scientific name of Sipipora hydropilacea. Now, before you exit the gate, you will see plants there, and that is an example of a nilad plant. Yeah, on the other side. Okay, now before knowing about this, of course, June 24, 1571, when this place was conquered by the Spaniard, headed by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. That's why he was also tagged as Adelantado, meaning first Governor General of the Philippines. And of course, together with Father, another priest, Sedeño, who actually designed the walled city. So what they did, they started to build our walled city. But during the time, we don't have durable material except for adobe or volcanic tuff. Later, I will show you an example of those volcanic tuff. Okay, well anyway, so this is now the city of Manila. Okay, and during that time, of course, during the pre-colonial time, only Spanish people are allowed to enter these premises. Yes, they started to rebuild the place, and it took them more than 249 years just to build the place. But unfortunately, it took only 240 hours or 10 days continuous bombing just to destroy the place. We'll tell you more about that. Well, anyway, 4 foreign flags flown over Intramuros. First is the Spaniards, followed by the British, because this place was also conquered by the British from 1762 to year 1764. And then came again, of course, we were ceded to America, and you won't even believe, the whole country, which is 300 square kilometers, together with the 10,000 population of Filipino at the time, we are only being paid for $20 million. That's only our equivalent. Okay, well, nevertheless, the darkest moment was during the Japanese occupation, 1942 to 1945. Okay, that's why we have massive destruction, because right after the World War, you can see it on the video, right? Now, this time, before we start with our tour, let me show you one good thing about the Philippines here. Okay, if America and even Canada, they have their apple, we also have apple in the Philippines. But this time, this is our red velvet apple. Or, in the Filipino language, we call it as mabolo. Or for the Tagalog people, they call it as tala. Yes. Now, it's not only the fruit that is really important, but the hardwood itself. It's a good example of a quality tree or quality wood. As a matter of fact, in early days, it is also being used as our weapon. So all we have to do is to create a spear and have it exposed on fire. And once it is exposed on fire, this is as hard as a metal. And to all the Filipino, right now, we use it to create arnis. Arnis is our national sport. Now you know. Okay, now this time, before we start walking tour, so let me show you here, because there are also some imported plants that we have here. Like for example, this variety of mango. You know what, in the Philippines, we don't really have mango. Yes, because mango is imported fruit. So, it was brought here during the Manila-Acapulco galleon trade. So, meaning to say, our mangoes came all the way from Mexico. Now, this one was only brought here by the Indians in 1762 to year 1764 during the British occupation. Why? Because the soldiers during the British time were Indians. Yes, that's why we have Indian mango. Okay. So anyway, let's move forward here. Yes.
Did you learn something?
San Francisco Pier. So this area also plays an important role in the earlier days. Number one, they can actually use it as a barracks. They can also use it as an ammunition chamber where they kept all their weapons. And if they have enemies on the aerial part, they cannot see that this can also be as a hiding place. Now, aside from this, everyone, let me show you another important part, which is the American barracks. Yes. Now, this is a good testimony that the place was heavily destroyed and destroyed during the World War. Why? Look at this. Come closer. You can see some holes. And those holes were the result of the blastings here. That's why the new generation, it's so nice that you can hear why. At least you can see that these are the result of the World War II in the Philippines. In short, World War has what? Nobody really wins in the World War. Everything, got lost. Yes. Okay? Well, anyway, this is the American barracks. And even our former president, Elpidio Quirino, he was imprisoned here before. Yes. And as you can see, it has already, it has some braces made of metal because any moment it can also collapse. And hopefully, we wanted to preserve this, and soon probably will be another exhibit area. Okay, by the way, we also have here mini tunnel. Yes. So this one will lead you to a spade-shaped type of facility which is outside the wall. It's actually a first line of defense. I will show you. Please join with me here. Okay, now this is a good example of our adobe. Yes, or volcanic tuff. Now, I just want to remind everyone that those adobe, the original volcanic tuff, these were actually quarried in Guadalupe, Makati. Why? Because Guadalupe used to be known as Lamang Katian, which means volcanic area. That's why they got the word Makati from the word Lamang Kati, meaning volcanic area. But please do not be bothered because those volcanoes in Guadalupe, Makati are considered unseismically active or dead volcano. Okay? But actually, there are lots of reasons why the place is called Makati. Just avail the Makati City Tour and you will know. Okay, please join me here.
I didn't know. Hindi ko alam na may volcano sa Makati. Akala ko Tagaytay ba?
Yes, you will see a cannon here. Or in early days, they call it Oh, later, the dungeon. Okay, this one is where we kept all our powdered magazine. Why? Because when the Spaniard conquered the place, who is their enemy? Number one, Chinese pirate and even Muslims. Yes, of course, the Muslims really wanted to regain back the dignity of the place. They started here. So what happened was, since it's facing the sea, that's why they used to have that one. And this area are all totally covered by water. We call it as moat area or contrafoso. It was patterned to European style of protection so that the invaders will not be able to get the wall easily. That's why in every gate, we have our drawbridge. It is being pulled by 11 in the evening and lowered 4 in the morning. But there's an instance that the place was burned by a Chinese pirate named Lim Aho. Or in the Filipino, we know him as Limaho, but it's Lim Aho. Okay, anyway, he was able to, what? He was able to escape. He went mostly in the head.
Pay attention.
With a lot of Chinese junk, and those Chinese were used as a human barricade in order for him to escape. That's why if you go to Lingayen, Pangasinan, most of the people, they have Oriental ancestry because of the Chinese. Yes, well, and that was way back here in 1574. Yes. And you know what happened? You might be wondering, where's the body of water now? Okay, and that is through the effort of the Americans. Why? Well, the Americans were health conscious. Yes. Why? Because they said the water is stagnant, it could be a good breeding place for mosquito. And because they are afraid of malaria. Okay, which is very rampant during those days. Okay, so what happened? It was converted into a recreational facility and it is now part of the Intramuros Tour. Okay, so this time let's move this way. And I will show you that this wall was specially made for the Spaniards only, not for Filipinos. This way, please watch the step.
Stay close.
Okay, this is the indication that the walled city was built for the usage of the Spanish or the Guardia Civil, the old Tirana. Why? Because the Spaniards are what? Tall people. Unlike Filipino, we're too small. So you cannot see outside. So that's why it was built for the purpose of the Spaniard, because they are taller people. You can come. Now, in early days, no Filipino is allowed to enter this place. Yes. And that's also the main reason why Chinese or the original Chinatown was transferred in another island. And later I will show you what island is that. Okay, please join with me here. Some of these are no longer original. Yes, because what they did was, it was renovated. By the way, it was the Intramuros administration who took charge for the restoration of the place. Well, as you may know, the Intramuros administration, it was created during the time of the late President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. And this is also with the help of the First Lady and the Ministry of Human Settlement, none other than Madam Imelda Marcos. Okay, so during that time, they created the Presidential Decree number 1616, otherwise known as the Intramuros administration. This way, please. So you can see all the adobe rocks. As a proof, you can try. It is brittle. You can even taste it if you want. No, just kidding. Okay, this way.
It's brittle. Like peanut brittle. Look at that.
Soon, this is supposed to be, this will be another exhibit area. Okay, please be careful, do not jump over it. Okay, by the way, let me introduce to you to the miracle plant in the Philippines.
Oh, miracle.
Yeah. You want to stay young and beautiful? You want to stay young and beautiful? Okay. Use moringa or what we call malunggay. Don't you know that this moringa plays an important role? Why? Because in early days, this is being used to preserve our dead bodies.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why if you want to see that, you can visit the home of the Philippine mummies. And this is in the town called Kabayan. Kabayan, Dingdingget.
We were talking about
administrative region. So they use this. Yes. Why? To maintain the good texture. That's why when you see our mummified couple in Cordillera, they look like they're being plasticized because their skin were being preserved because of this. Yes, that's why we call it as the miracle plant. And in the Philippines, we use it with different kinds of menu and dishes. Okay. Tinola, that's the number one for that. Okay, since we have plenty of Filipino here, I have a question. Okay, since you are all Filipino, do you have any idea what is the national dish in the Philippines?
adobo.
Adobo is not a dish, but it's a process of preserving food.
Oh.
Yes, because it is concocted between, of course, soy sauce and vinegar to prolong the lifespan of the food. Yes,
Pwede pala yun
and
eh.
it was introduced by the Spaniards. And the first adobo was first served in Iloilo. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have national dish
Oh, talaga?
yet now.
Oh, wow. Kala ko adobo to.
Because adobo is not a food daw, it's a process. Yeah.
If we say sinigang, everybody must be using the same ingredients.
Aha.
In Luzon, we are using this one called kamias. Yes.
Favorite ni Miracle yan.
Sour soup. But unfortunately, if you go to Visayas and Mindanao, they are not using this. Instead, they are using kabatuan. Yes. So it's different. Okay? So let's move this way, please.
Gusto na naman niya Ate Pili.
Again, thank you to the Indians. They bought their
Walang ano yan. Ito.
And it's not only the Indian
Are you getting back at me for what I said to
from the Indian people, but also our Carinderia. Yeah, because when they come to the Philippines, when they stayed and remained right after the British occupation in 1762 to year 1764, so they established their own business and they're promoting their own food. That's why they have curry. So what the Filipino did, we
Carinderia.
tend to replicate it because Filipino, we're not into too spicy. We want our food to be more tastier and sweeter. And that's why we are using chicken curry right now with pineapple tidbits because of its sweet taste. Okay? And that's why from the curry, we created Carinderia.
Oh.
Thanks to the Indians. Okay.
Carinderia. Finding Nemo.
Yung may-ari ng karinderya, si Mariah Carey.
Secret passage for what?
Only Spaniards can use this passage. I don't know.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wall of Martyrs. Yes, Wall of Martyrs, as you can see here, we have a wall inscripted all the names of those people who got imprisoned inside Fort Santiago.
Oh.
So check, it might be one of your ancestors were here.
Nino?
Even Ferdinand Marcos, the former president. Yeah, because he was also imprisoned there. Okay, that's why we got us honor roll. Of course, to honor those people who got imprisoned inside Fort Santiago. Yes, and now this area is actually a picnic ground. Unfortunately, they just removed some of the benches and, of course, our tables. Okay? Now this time, we'll go now to the real and main gate of Fort Santiago. Let's go this way. Follow me. By the way, this Lantaca was during the pre-colonial time Spanish period.
That's the Wall of Martyrs. It's a plaque with the names of
They execute them here, or is this memorial?
imprisoned.
In prison, okay.
And some of our presidents were
Prison there?
imprisoned.
Yoel, according to our tour guide, this is a souvenir for free, but you need to carry it alone. Even the cannon is for free.
No problem, I come from family.
And then we also have another example of the remnants of the war. So you can see a Lantaca over there. It was recovered in Cebu in 1870.
Ano yan?
Well, those
Ang
shells, the one which has no dots, this one is Spanish time, while the one with the dots on the side is American bomb.
Great city.
Yeah.
Great city.
Magkano na tayo mamaya?
Yeah, that's
So masarap din po yan. Though other people, they don't like the smell, but I really like it.
it's the
Kaya lang, please
mabolo.
be careful,
We have
don't
that in
get
our
caught
farm.
itchiness. Okay? Okay, now this time let me show you here. So that is the main gate. Now originally the bridge was actually aligned on this side. Now another remnants of the war. Look at those holes on the wall. So this was blasted during the 1945. Okay, so let's move on. So we'll go to the main gate of Fort Santiago. So before, during the Japanese occupation, we have, what do you call this one? We have heads and we also have cages on both sides. 2 cages on both sides. And they go to our inside the cages. Filipinos and Americans during the World War. They are actually exposed under the heat of the sun. They're not even allowed to eat nor to drink. So that's how they tortured us before. Okay, don't worry, but that was in history, okay? So now they're our friends, okay? Let's get this way. Yeah, why? Because Filipino, remember, Filipino or Philippines, we cannot afford to have enemy. Why? Because we are also a friendliest people. We always smile, right? As a matter of fact, even during the pre-colonial time, Catholicism in Japan is not allowed. And that's why we received them here inside Intramuros, headed by Justo Okun Takayama. That's why we have his monument in Plaza Dilao. This is in Paco, Manila. Okay? And then even the Jews, we received them also in the Philippines. Yes, we love them here during that time. So imagine. Like Christ, thank you. And even during the American-Vietnam War, we received them here. In short, Philippines is a one big orphanage. We cannot really afford to fight because we are very friendly people. We don't have enough weapons. And we are not a very rich country, okay? Yes, the only thing that we can be proud of because we are the most friendliest and the most hospitable people in town. Okay, so follow me please.
Kaya may mga juice bag kasi tinulungan natin sila.
Okay, another one. Please take note of this. Yeah, because in the Philippines, we don't have this. These are all imported.
Oh.
When you see it has an inscription, Chinese inscription, that
Made in
means it
China.
is imported all the way from China.
Asan yun?
Not yet. Okay. Now we actually call it as Chinese cobblestone or piedra china. Now, why do we have this? Honestly speaking, we don't have durable materials like this in the Philippines. And it has Chinese inscription. So when the Chinese businessmen, when they come to the Philippines, before leaving China, they pass by their cemetery. Short headstone. Lapit na lang. Why? Because they use it as a balance in their ship. And then when they come to the Philippines, they undergo forced labor. So they use this. That's why we have that. Okay? So you can see also here a footprint, but this is not concrete and this is not original. Before, we really have one going to Bagong Bayan, which is now known as Rizal Park. Why do we have this? The Centennial Commission, they added this just to show where our national hero passed by going to the execution site. Because right after here, we'll go to the second most important reason why you really have to visit Fort Santiago. Okay, let's see more things.
The stones tell the story. Saan yung miracle?
So this time everyone, we're going to the main gate of Fort Santiago. And this is the main reason why the place is called Fort Santiago, because of the guy riding on a horse. Well, they saw him on a dream, slaying victoriously all their enemy, and these are the Moors, or the Muslim. So his name is Saint James. Yes, Saint James. He is the Spanish patron saint of the Spanish army. And that's the main reason why the place is called Fort Santiago, because it was dedicated after him. And secondly, they said the place is called Fort Santiago because it was named after Santiago de Vera, one of the former Governor General of the Philippines. Now take a look. You've seen on the video, this was heavily destroyed, right? So it was only renovated under by the Intramuros administration. Now you can see also the crown. The crown represents Spain, who conquered us for 333 years. But take note, even though we were under by Spain for 333 years, none of us can speak fluently in Spanish. I'll tell you later. Okay. Now, you can see also the inscription on the insignia on the wall. So we have the lion and the castle. So these are the two famous provinces in Spain, Castile and Leon. So that's why we have that one. And of course, you can see the lion. And right now, since we have the lion, so we changed the lion into a merlion, which is the symbol of the city of Manila. Actually, the Singapore only copied us. Yes, because we are already using that even during the pre-colonial time. Yeah, because of Leon, of course, one of the famous provinces in Spain, and the tail of the fish because we are an archipelagic country. We are covered by water. Okay? So actually, the stone wall and
Merlion.
the wooden carvings, it was actually carved by Zacarias Salonga and Wilfredo Layog from Betis, Pampanga. And it was only donated by Carlos P. Romulo. Okay, this way please. Now, if you happen to enter, take note, it is very hard for you to enter this place. Why? Because of the soldiers outside. But if you were able to enter, you cannot really escape. Why? Welcome to the death row. Yeah, this is actually a trap. Yes, why? Because if the enemy was able to pursue in this side, automatically, this is a trap. All the soldiers will come up and kill you right there and then. But if you have the 9 lives like the cat, and you were able to adjust this way,
Mission impossible.
what? You cannot really escape. Why? Because front of us is the Plaza de Armas. Plaza de Armas, literally, it's a weaponry section. So all the military drillings and military weapons are being kept on this side. So if it happens you advance, then they can kill you at once. Okay, so this time, welcome to the second most important part of the tour inside Fort Santiago. And this time is dedicated to our national hero, Dr. Jose Portasio Rizal Mercado Alonso y Rialonda, or in short, Dr. Rizal.
I have a question. So they have this walled city, but are there residents living in here? What are they trying to protect?
Actually, the residence is outside.
Yeah. I see.
So this is a military barracks.
Okay.
Yes. So even during the time of Raja Sulaiman, his kingdom was there.
Mm,
Yes. Okay, so this is the fortress where the seat of the government is.
okay.
But then, the house of the Governor General is the one that over there.
Mm,
Yes, the Palacio del Gobernador. Yes, and of course, before it became Palacio del Gobernador, that used to be a 2-story building. It was owned by his best friend. Yes. During that time, it was built, and it is a 2-story building owned by Manuel Estacio de Venegas. His governors, he's a governor 8. But after extorting money from the Chinese people, he was executed to death by his own best friend. Because they said that his money comes from an ill-gotten wealth. I hope it can also be applied today. No, just kidding. Anyway. Okay, if that is the official house or the original Malacanang during that time, the office of the governor is just across the white building,
yeah.
which is the Casa Ayuntamiento, Casa Aristoriales, or in short, the Municipal Hall. And that is the most prized building inside the walled city.
I see.
Why? Because it houses the National Treasury, and at the same time, after it was rebuilt, it cost more than $1 billion peso. Okay, let's move here. Okay. You know what? I love this so much. Why? The greener, the darker, the better. It's what we call banaba. It's a kind of an herbal plant. For those with kidney problem, this is the best tea. It can cleanse your kidneys. See? Okay, it's just like a normal tea. Okay, so this time, this is now the second most important part because the guy in front is our national hero, and this is the reality, everyone. It's kind of funny. Why? We are a Filipino, we live in the Philippines, yet our national hero is a Chinese. Yes, because originally they're not from the Philippines, they're from Fujian, China. Originally bearing the surname of the Lamco family. But prior to the creation of the 1849 Narciso Claveria Decree Isaldua, it's a kind of law that states that all Filipino and Chinese surname must be changed into Spanish. So what happened? Lamco became Mercado. But Jose did not use Mercado because in Spanish, Mercado means market. Okay? And since they're into rice business, so they suggested him to use Rizal instead, which means greener pasture. And of course, in early days, the main reason why
Stay
we need to
closer.
adopt Hispanized surname, and that is for easy collection of names. Let's say, for example, my last name is Makalintal. All surname that start with letter M, you are all Batangueños, live in Batangas. That's why we have Masilungan, yes, Magnaye, okay. Now, if you want to transfer to another neighboring province, you need to have your local passport. Yes, you cannot actually allowed to go anywhere else without your local passport. The main reason, so that you will be advised to go back so that you can pay your tax on your respective town. Okay, to avoid people from traveling and escaping from their, obligation to pay taxes. Okay, well anyway, the main reason why Rizal is here, because the facility that you're seeing right now, these are the two facilities where Dr. Jose Rizal was in prison. So he started to be here by November 3 up to December 29 of year 1896. Okay, so later I'll show you where he started to walk 700 meters going to the execution site, and where he wrote his famous
Mi Ultimo
Di Ultimo
Adios.
Adios, or Versas de Alejandrinos, o Huling Pamamaalam. Okay? Yes, my last farewell. Right? Okay, well anyway, they used to transfer him from time to time so that he will not going to escape. Honestly speaking, there are some Filipinos hiding because they really wanted to help him to escape. But Rizal was so hesitant. Why? Because he doesn't want, to avoid bloodshed to all the Philippine people. That's the main reason why he became our national hero. Yes, why? Because he's more heart than a Filipino. But to be honest, it's not us Filipino who choose him to be our national hero. It's an American by the name Governor General William Cameron Forbes. William Howard Taft, sorry. Well, he's our first civil American governor assigned in the Philippines. So they love him because number one, highly intelligent, because Americans are after with high intelligent level, because Dr. Jose Rizal can speak 22 languages and can even understand Egyptian writings. Okay? Whew, that's it. That's the real reason also. We are Filipino, we live in the Philippines, yet our first Philippine president is also Chinese. With the Chinese blood, true. And that is General Emilio Aguinaldo E. Fami. Okay? So that's why you can see he has an oriental eye. Okay, well anyway, as of now we cannot say that we are the real Filipino because we belong to mixed ancestry already.
Yeah.
Okay? And because some of the real Filipinos, they are 4 feet below. So if you're above the 4 feet, then you are lucky because that means you belong to the mixed ancestry. Like for example, on my case, on my mom's side, my great-great-grandfather is an American, while on my father's side, my great-great-grandfather is Spanish blood. And both of my lolas are all native or indigenous people too. So in short, I belong to the Katutubo. Okay? So this time, let's move on and show you something here. I'm so happy to see this one. This plays an important role in the Philippine culture. We call it as chongla. Are you aware what's this for? So it is being used for multiple purposes. Number one, it can be used as a barricade on our rice paddies in Banawe for the rice terraces. And secondly, it is also being used at a tea, and it is also being used for the enchantment for hunting and cutting of heads.
Oh, talaga?
Because in early days, Ifugao are well known as the headhunters. But don't worry, they
Nagamit
don't
pala yun.
practice cannibalism.
Enchantment. Miracle! Bilis.
Raja Sulaiman Theater. Yes. So this facility was constructed for the purpose of our military barracks at the same time. Now, time came, this was realized through the effort of Madam Imelda Marcos. Why? Because it's an open-air theater. Let's see what's inside.
Open air theater.
Yes. So welcome to Rajat Sulaiman Theater. Now it's an open-air theater. As you can see, no roof because it was a ruins. So all they have to do is to put some lights, curtains, and then our actors and actresses, then voila, this serve as their stage. Yes, as a matter of fact, one of the most famous act that happened here was the one did by Madam Nora Honor. Yes, entitled Munting Gamo-Gamo, which became more famous because of the line, "My brother is not a pig." Okay. Yes. Now you might be wondering why Madam Imelda wanted to have an open-air theater. Don't you know that Madam Imelda is also a total performer? Because Madam Imelda has a passion for arts. And that's the main reason Intramuros was developed, because Madam Imelda wanted to promote Filipino talents in terms of singing, dancing, and acting. Because Madam Imelda, just being a beauty queen, she's also a good singer. And she has a great passion of art. Why? Okay, everyone, morning. She come in it because she's the great-great-granddaughter of Juan Luna.
Oh.
Parang hindi nila alam. Yeah. Okay. So, this time, let's move on the other side. Okay. So, let's go. The other side.
General.
Don't worry, later, right after the tour, I'll be giving you ample time because we will end at the dungeon. After that, we'll give you ample time to go get inside. Why, guys? This is really important. It's a museum. And not only a museum because the bone of Dr. Jose Rizal, which was shot by a bullet, the vertebra, it was kept inside the glass container and it is now kept inside. And that is the original bone of Dr. Jose Rizal. Because the rest of the bone are now laid and kept beneath the monument. And that's the main reason why the statue of Rizal is being guarded 24/7 by our Philippine Marine Corps, because the remains of Rizal was there. Yes, it was December 30 of 1913, during the 17th death anniversary of Rizal. His remains was placed there as his final resting place. And the only bone that is missing is inside. Okay, huwag lang nating nakaw. Okay, let's go this way.
Results last week.
Okay, so this time, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last walk to the martyrdom of Dr. Jose Rizal. So imagine, Dr. Jose Rizal was imprisoned inside and this side, starting November 3 of, after December 29 of year 1896. But you know what's the greatest torture that they made to Dr. Jose Rizal?
What?
They were kept inside the cell. And not even a single light can enter the room. And remember, November 3 up to December 29. December 25 is Christmas season. And that is a very important event in the history of the Philippines. Why? Because we celebrate the longest Christmas event in the whole world. And secondly, during Christmas, it's a family reunion. But during the time, he's not even permitted to hug his mom. So imagine, it is a real torture to Dr. Jose Rizal. Imagine Christmas season and yet you're inside, supposed to be with your family. Okay, now this is the last moment of Rizal. Okay. Yes. The night before Rizal will be executed, he was transferred here. And you know what? He wrote his last farewell, Mi Ultimo Adios. It was written inside. Starting November 3, he's already writing it. On the last night, before he was transferred here, he rewrote everything. That's why it was perfectly written in Spanish. And it was kept inside the lamp. And you know what's the good thing of Rizal? He was really brilliant and smart guy. Why? Because when he handed over the lamp to the sister named Trinidad, because he can speak and understand English very well, he said it in a manner that no Spanish guard can understand it. Okay? He said, there's something deep inside. But unfortunately, the sister is so unfocused by that time, and she only discovered the message of Rizal when she was already at home. That's where she discovered there's something inside the lamp. Okay, and that lamp, the original lamp, was actually exhibited and even what? Auction in Hong Kong, and the Centennial Commission bought it for 10,000 US dollars and brought it back to the Philippines. And right now, it is in the care of one of the relatives of Rizal, the Herbosa family, who probably resides somewhere in Green Hills. Okay, well anyway, this is the last walk of Dr. Jose Rizal. Again, 700 meters going to the execution site. And take note, why did they let Rizal walk 700 meters? To humiliate him and his family to the public. Yes, and supposed to be, Rizal will be executed at exactly 7 o'clock. But there's a 3-minute delay. It became 7:03 of December 30th, year 1896. Why? Because of the dog. You know what? The dog plays an important role. Why? Because even when Rizal was still very young, he has two favorite dogs, Guzman and Berganza. But during the time of execution, it's a military dog. And I don't know what's the name of the dog. They did not even give the name. Hopefully, there's a national ID system already that time. Anyway, so what happened when Rizal was assisted by the dog? When they reached the exact spot where Rizal will be shot to death, the dog keep on barking, which made a 3-minute delay. And they said it could be a warning informing the Filipino that Rizal is already here. It's now your chance to grab him and escape. But Rizal was so hesitant to avoid bloodshed to all the Filipino. And if you will be executed, you will need to be what? Kneel down, handcuffed, and blindfolded and shot here. But Jose says, you cannot do that to me. Why? I'm an educator. And I'm also a doctor. See? So, what happened was, they let him face that so that to show that he's really an enemy of the state. But you know what? The question is, did really Rizal turn around? Yes or no? No. Yes. Who says yes? Natakot eh. Who says no?
There's a song, turn
Who doesn't know
around.
the answer? Okay, thank you. Okay, honestly speaking, there are two sides of the story. It's actually a coin. Whether this one is real or whether this one is real. At least I'm giving you the choice, okay? Now, honestly, during that time, before he was shot to death, he's facing that way. Why? To show that he is really a, what? He is a traitor to the country. And they said, by the time Rizal turned around after shouting consummatum est, which means it is done, which is the last word they heard to Dr. Jose Rizal, they said Rizal really turned around just to show that he's not a traitor to the country. But on the other side of the story, if you're gonna take a look, visit the execution site in Luneta, which is now Rizal Park, it's open to the public for free. You can see the close range. And these are all high caliber. The one who shot Rizal were Filipino soldiers. Why? You cannot blame them. It's a man way of survival. Why? Because behind them are the Spanish soldiers, and if they're not going to shoot Rizal, they will be shot to death. So imagine how many. Supposed to be there's only one bullet, the rest are empty. But it turned out that the rest has a lot of bullets, only one is empty. And when they shoot Rizal, they're close range, and the impact. So it could probably the reason why he was able to turn around. Okay? But nevertheless, whatever it is, at least Rizal really made his part. And the main reason why they really triggered him to kill Rizal, it's because Rizal is the one who awakened the minds of every Filipino that, hey, everyone, it's about time for us to fight for our own freedom. It is our country, it is our native land. And yet these foreign people are the one who's taking us. See? And I think he deserved to be our national hero. Okay? That's why we are so thankful to Dr. Rizal. Yes, Benny.
I'm sorry for a question. Which facing what direction signifies?
Actually, he's facing that way.
So facing towards the gun or away from the gun?
Away from the gun.
And
Yeah.
that
That means
communicates
you're a traitor.
to your country.
Yes.
Facing away from the gun.
Yes.
Thank you.
And by the way, another historical landmark here is the Postigo de Nuestra Señora de la Soledad, or Our Lady of Postern. So this escape gate was used by Governor General Simon de Anla y Salazar. He's our Governor General during the British occupation in 1762 to year 1764. Why? Because he used this one to escape. Yes. Why? He went to Pampanga province to establish his own military resistance. And when he went to Pampanga, of course, the Governor General is there. So they taught all the Kapampangan people to cook. And that's the main reason Pampanga became the culinary capital of the Philippines. But unfortunately, it only lasted for 2 years. So they went back. And of course, if you're from Pampanga, of course, you have to what? To pass it to the next generation. Because if your next generation know how to cook, and if the governor were there, then you can be employed. See? Well, anyway, that's the reason also. So this time, let's go to the saddest part of Fort Santiago. Let's go to the dungeon. This way, please.
We're going to the dungeon.
We're going to the dungeon.
By the way, yes, recently they made a commotion. Why? Because for a couple of years, it was exhibited in Ayala Museum that they said Rizal official height was 4 feet and 11 inches tall.
You want to go there, Kira?
But recently it was corrected based on the wardrobe. It's 5 feet and 3 inches tall. Yeah, same as me.
5'3".
Actually, that's the brother of Yoel.
Watch your step. Watch your step. Yes, that's true. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the White Cross, also known as the Half-Hill Cross. It was dedicated and named after, it was actually named after William Cobb. He's the guy who discovered on this side approximately 600 decaying bones of Filipino Americans. Yeah, they were being tortured. Why? Because the dungeon was originally made as what? It's where they kept the powdered magazines together in the Santa Barbara, Baluarte de Santa Barbara. So all the powdered magazines were being kept. Why? Imagine it's really hot. These are all powdered magazines that can explode. So when it's under, it has a cooling sensation. Even this edifice. Why? Because behind that, they created a aqueduct. So at the back, they what? They filtered and put water in it for cooling sensations. Okay? But then during the Japanese time, our dungeon became a torture chamber. No one is allowed to eat nor to drink. Okay? And for those who are brave enough, well, we can go down and see the place. This is non-mandatory.
Are you brave enough?
I'm brave enough to jump in the ocean.
You need to look down before you enter because it's quite narrow, but when you get inside, it's big. Okay? So please be careful. Watch your step. Watch your step. Okay, this is how it looks like, everyone. During the Japanese occupation, it served as a torture chamber, so you can see the swelling cadaver of dead people.
Ella, careful ha.
Talagang attentive ka mga kids na to.
For all our kids, it's nice for you to see this one. Don't worry. You can get in. You can do it this way. Okay?
Ella, Kira. Huwag kayong manguna.
Watch your head.
Come on, Kira. Kira, wait lang. Huwag kang...
Sit down.
Ay, yun. No.
Oh, ang liit. Oh, you need to crouch.
Okay. Kaya
Wow.
Very good. Galing ni madam.
Si Daddy ba kaya?
Very good. Okay, you may proceed.
So, diretso, diretso. Diretso. Diretso para. May... Mas cool nga dito. It's cool.
Tayo doon sa office. Enter the first chamber.
Bigyan mo ako siya yun.
Can I go there? Can I climb? Can I climb?
Cremation.
Daddy! Nagawa mo? I'm so proud of you, Daddy. Nakatulong.
Torture methods employed by the Spanish in the 16,000s included the use of firearms to crush the Philippines.
Nice.
Some schools were also employed to dislocate the joints in the hands. All
Used to have like that.
yes, four-headed screws were applied to put pressure on the sides of the skull. Lead weights were also used to test
Tapos nakita mo parang may mga
So, look at those pictures. Imagine 600 approximately dead people inside. How much more outside? See? Even infants were not spared on the war. But, so this is part of our history, everyone, that in every war, nobody really wins. Okay? So imagine, yesterday, April 9, we are celebrating the Day of Valor, or Araw ng Kagatingan, and it's also known as the Fall of Bataan. Remember the infamous Death March between Filipino and Americans? They were forced to march from Bagak and Maribeles, around 104 kilometers, going to San Fernando, Pampanga. And from there, they were boarded on a train, squeezed in. Imagine, in one bad one, it was hundreds of them were squeezing inside. And they were brought to Kapastarlak, and they made the final walk around 13 kilometers more. Imagine roughly around 80,000 that marchers, only 22 survived, 22,000. So what happened? While they're marching along the way, you know what happened? They're not allowed to eat nor to drink. So if their wives are waiting for them, and if the wife is pregnant, all they do is slash the tummy and kill the baby inside. If they're carrying an infant, grab it, toss on the air, and bayonet it to death. And even our comfort women, they're being raped. For every single Filipina, 50 soldiers will continuously use them. And if they resisted, they will slice or chop their breasts. Yes, it happened during the time. Well, anyway, it's part of the history. Japan is our best friend now. That's why most of our infrastructural projects, well, for payback to all the damages done by their ancestors. I love Philippines. Yes.
I think we're the only people who become friends with our enemies.
Yeah, because we cannot fight with them. We don't have weapons. The only weapon that we have is a big heart. Okay? So this way, please. Don't worry.
Paglabas natin ito, ganito to na yung lahat.
Excited. Excited si Akira. May pa-quiz.
Hindi makakasagot ko lang inasal.
May pagano?
Sinamantala yung pagkakataong ano.
Okay, and you can see here, look how Manila looked like. It was total devastation. This is Manila. It got pulverized during, imagine 10 days continuous bombing.
Wow.
And who's the one who destroyed us? Americans. See? So right after the World War, Intramuros is a one big rubbish, and it's a one big huge of garbage area. See? Okay, and right after here, I would like, of course, I do understand everybody already voted because we wanted to be Asia's #1 destination in Manila. Okay, watch your step. Okay, this is the last one. So, that's why you can see a Japanese there. So before we're so afraid to see Japanese. So this time they are our friends. Okay, you say, sayonara tomadachi. That means goodbye, my friend. Okay, watch your step.
Japan ano, dapat i-shake sa gano'n. Batong kita
Ano sa'yo? Ay, Japan pala.
Ayun, lamig naman ng wood. Ito pa yung wood.
Finally, welcome back to the Philippines again.
Yaki na.
Parang
Yeah, you
Careful
can see the
po.
Garitas. Garitas is a guardhouse.
Ay, nahulog siya. Thank you. Ah,
And this time, I would like to show you something.
amoy Pilipinas.
Oo nga eh.
Amoy
This is the
Philippines.
reason why we cannot fight with China. Part of the Pasig River. Yes, this is Pasig River. And you know what? We're so proud because this is the dirtiest river that we have in Intramuros. Ang pinakamaruming ilog ng Metro Manila. Welcome to Pasig River. Uy, modest aside, malinis na yan, ha? Okay. Incomparable to before. Okay, now, let me show you which is another most important part of the history. Okay, this is the main reason why you cannot fight with China. Because even the oldest Chinatown in the world is in the Philippines, and that is Binondo. Yes, the original Chinatown is actually on the other side, which is the Manila City Hall. Yes, that's the original Sanglai or Sangli. So meaning it's a public area or public market. Now, what happened was like this. You know what? Spanish people are really brilliant. They think very advanced and fast. Why? Imagine the population of Chinese are getting bigger. 1,500 over the Spaniards, who is roughly only around 750 population. So when the Chinese uprise, they can easily defeat the Spaniards. So what the Governor General did, Governor General Perez de Dasmariñas, he bought the entire island called Binondok because it's a hilly structure. That's why from the word Binondok, the place is called Binondo. So this is now reputed to be as the oldest Chinatown in the whole world. And you know what? This is also the main reason why the capital of the Philippines was transferred from Cebu to Manila. Why? Because Chinese people are very what? They are very hardworking people. All they have to do is to work and save money. And you know what? Chinese are only allowed to stay here in the Philippines for 1 month. Yes, when they want to go do business. So from China, they dock their ship here, and there's a place there called El Caserio. So this area is actually a public market, while on the second floor, it serves as their boarding house. They are only allowed to stay here for 1 month. And then right after here, they go back to China and get another products. Now, in order for them to stay here longer, all they have to do is to marry our local Filipina. That's why when they go to China, legal wife is there. Okay. Yeah, because in Chinese, they allowed, you know, mistresses. Yes. And of course, as a matter of fact, this became the financial district capital of the Philippines. This used to be the Makati. Why? A lot of money. As a matter of fact, even the most sophisticated shopping mall in Asia, we are the Paris of Asia before. That's why we have Escolta. Yes, that's why during the time, if someone is coming, especially the British, the people will shout, Escolta, meaning to escort. Why? Posh people will come and do shopping. See? And then from then on, the place became Binondo. So, this is another reason why we need to be befriend with the China. Why? You can see even our bridge, that's the connecting bridge between Intramuros and Chinatown, Binondo. It was financed by China. That's why if you want to do shopping, the bargain capital of the Philippines is in there. Yes, of course. And the products are all imported. We call it as Prada. Product of China. Okay, and of course we have Pasig River. Well, Pasig derived from the Maguindanaon term, which is Pas-8, which means fast flowing of water. The fresh water come all the way from the biggest freshwater lake in the Philippines, around 911.17 square kilometers, and that is Laguna de Bay. And then passing by to the mouth of Manila Bay. Okay, so with that everyone, I hope you learned and entertained on our small talk, our tour inside Fort Santiago. Again, my name is Nemo. Thank you for visiting Fort Santiago. And don't forget also to like and vote Intramuros, particularly as the Asia's #1 destination. Actually, we became Asia's and world destination in Manila way back 2020, even during the height of pandemic. Why? Because a lot of people voted because we are promoting the virtual tour. If you want to see my virtual tour, go to Casa Manila. Don't forget to share and like it. Again, my name is Nemo. Thank you, God bless, and bye. Enjoy
Thank you, Nemo.
Oh, sure.